kind of deal though.
Yeah.
Most people don't arrive on their own private jet.
No.
Better than what?
You know, let's
I do.
Yeah.
So don't say not everybody.
Yeah, right.
Lolita,
I really liked
Rise and Shine.
Sweet
You gotta try Rise and Shine.
Sweet cream.
Buzz when you break the top.
for the burritos.
Coffee and food, that's all you guys are talking about this morning?
Horrible too, they're not.
They're like $5.50.
Most important things in life, coffee and food.
Monster burrito.
Alrighty, let's get started. Everybody have a good week? Yeah?
Haven't thought about it.
Haven't thought about it? Is it the end of the week? No, it's the beginning of it. Does anybody have, not that you'll remember necessarily, anybody have questions or comments about what we've gone over so far, or anything that they don't understand? Okay, so, we're not actually gonna be able to finish out the no debt, no sweat, and the fact that there's only 3 classes left. Okay, what is the date today? 12, so there'll be 2 classes after this. Alright, so go ahead with so the next week, go ahead with the normal lesson that you would have done, and that will be the last lesson out of the no debt, no sweat. And then the very last lesson is going to be a lesson I put together that won't have anything to do with that. But we're still talking budget and finance, alright? So I'm going to veer off at that point. So the next class will still be the no debt, no sweat. Because the new quarter starts after that, that's why the 26th is the last class. Everybody clear as mud on that? Kathy was exceptionally excited this morning. She was the first one in here and was able to get it.
I just needed the.
Kathy was able to get a seat all the way at the back because she didn't want to be noticed. High five for Kathy. All right. First page, everybody got one? All right. How does budget and finance build the kingdom? I want a new one. How does budget and finance, I mean, you can answer either question. How does budget and finance build the kingdom? And how does understanding money and budgets help the spread of the gospel for the individual? Anybody? Bueller? Yes.
I think understanding how budget and finance builds the kingdom, just relatable in a personal life, you know, in your own lives, it's helpful to understand how God provides. And I think that is part of building the kingdom and understanding how your budget works and how God provides for your budget.
Because is building your own household part of building the kingdom? People forget that, don't they? This is, I'll give you a picture. I'm a picture guy, I like pictures. I always found it interesting that there are certain individuals who, if you put a lot of time into your family, will tell you that you're not building the kingdom. And it's like, why is a Bible study with my son, who is not saved per se, or will have to face that choice at some point, any different than studying with somebody outside the church? All right.
It's more important.
It's more important. You're exactly right. Why? Because out of all of history, out of all the time from beginning to the end, for instance, all right, the Lord found that I needed to raise Cody. Okay? Out of all of time, the Lord felt that we needed to raise Kelton, that we needed to raise Keegan, that Mikey needed to be in my household. Okay? Now, if you stop and think about it, if you stop and think about it, that's huge. The Lord picked me and my wife specifically for those individuals, the same as He picked you for yours, if you have any individuals.
I have a parent.
We'll talk about that some other time. Michelle?
We're just taking that one step further in the structure of the church and the way the Lord set it up with elders.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you can't minister your own family, then how are you to minister the body?
Exactly. So budget and finance plays an integral part in building the kingdom for the individual and for the kingdom in general, doesn't it? It also shows a level of discipline, right? Now, do you have to be an expert to manage budget and finances? Well, I can tell you no. All right? Do you have to be an expert bookkeeper? No, but it helps. Why do I say that? Bookkeeping is what I struggle with. Because like I said, I don't want to stand up here and have you guys think I've got that I've got all the answers. I got a lot of answers, but I have my own struggles. I have my own things I fight with. Okay? All right. So, first slide outside of that. And I'll be honest, I meant to get what verse this is, and I noticed this morning as I was as I was walking out of the house, I never wrote it down. So I will get that to you because I don't recall off the top of my head where this particular one, everybody recognizes it though, okay? So behold, I send you out as sheep in the midst of wolves, so be shrewd as serpents and innocent as doves. So a little skepticism is a good thing, and that's straight out of the No Dad, No Sweat book. And I really like that. A little skepticism is a good thing. So what's this scripture mean to the individual Christian?
Matthew
Yeah.
10.
Is it? Jot that down, Matthew 10. Thank you. Matthew 10, 16, yeah. I don't know, I was like, what the heck? So what's it mean to the individual Christian? Be shrewd as serpents and innocent as doves. You start pointing at people. Don't be that person. Anybody?
Discerning.
Discerning. Very good. I did look up the definition of shrewd. Shrewd means having or showing sharp powers of judgment. Now, a lot of people would read that and they would miss the fact that it says having or showing. I have often told my sons, as I have told my soldiers, that it's not what you know, it's what you look like you know. Okay? Yes?
Is that Matthew 10:16
Yes. Yes.
scripture?
Yeah, Matthew 10:16 is that scripture. So what's it mean? Well, you can look at shrewd as showing good judgment, and you can look at innocent as doves as what?
The discerning ability to know which is which.
Right?
Keep your nose out of people's business that isn't yours.
Yeah, keep your nose out of people's business. What else?
As a business person, I go at this as make as much money as you can.
Right.
Charge a fair price, but don't cheat people.
Right.
Don't take advantage of somebody
Just because you can?
just because you can. Still giving them an honest price for the honest. So you're innocent because you ain't taking advantage of someone, but yet
Exactly.
you are still
Reputable.
making a fair profit for what services rendered.
Right. Gary?
Well, Brenda said, keep your nose out of other people's business.
Uh-huh.
I thought we as Christians are supposed to help our brothers and sisters with, whatever, to stick your nose in, and I guess into whatever that's troubling them and to help them.
Well, you do, but I think what Brenda's getting at is you stick your nose in when it's invited in, or when there's an opportunity. Because me, personally, I'm a pretty private guy. And if somebody walks up to me and starts asking me personal questions about stuff that I just feel is none of their business, because I don't keep secrets, but I do believe there's a big difference between secrets and none of your business. I don't keep secrets per se, but if somebody just comes up and starts giving me the what for, which has happened, then that's what she's talking about when people just stick their nose in where they weren't invited or where they didn't even ask if they could come in. See what I mean? There's gotta be a reciprocation there. Especially with finances, I could come up and say, hey Gary, hey, I noticed that you bought a new car or you bought a new TV. What are you doing that for? It doesn't look like you can afford anything else. But that's not for me to say, unless I come to you and say, for instance, if you're struggling with finances, I'm more than happy to sit down and go over that with you. I just wanted you to know. So instead, rather than just bolt in there and say you look like you just did something really dumb. So I think that's what she means by that. Yes.
To help that person, you need that baseline information to be able to assist.
And a relationship.
So it's not, right, the relationship is number one.
Yep, absolutely. No, but that's a very, very good point. So what I was getting at with innocent as doves is above reproach. And that's basically what you were saying, to be above reproach. Knowing that if somebody comes after you for something, it's not because you did something wrong, it's because there's a problem with them. Okay? Alright, so what does it look like if love's not rude? And I think we just kind of went over that. Okay, because a lot of people would think shrewd as serpents and innocent as doves. Okay, if love is not rude, then how are we shrewd and how are we above reproach? Well, we conduct ourselves, like Mark said, the way that we should for what we do. Right? Or who we are. If we're Christians, we know that Christ showed love in all things, right? Yeah. Do you think he was probably pretty good with his money as well?
I don't think he had much.
He didn't have it, but he had to be then.
Yeah.
So yes, yes he was. Okay? All right, next slide. Tips and tricks on the car business. Now what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about cars and we're going to talk about insurance. That was the primary focus of these chapters. So this should be fun and exciting. How many people in here have ever bought a car? Okay. Maybe not you. That's okay though. What? Yeah, once or twice, yeah. Okay, so why is it a good idea to show up near the end of the month? Sale, what else?
They gotta meet their quota.
Ah, the infamous quota word. What's quotas? What does quota mean?
They're required to sell for the month.
Right, the number that they're, so yeah, quotas are the number, for whoever is foggy, quota is the number of sales they have to have per month of cars. Not necessarily a specific car, although sometimes it is, but a specific number of cars. You go in at the end of the month, that's when the numbers are waning, okay? Unless you've got a really good salesman who does the bulk of his selling at the beginning of the month so he can skate the end. But that's not usually the case. Usually it's they skate the first 2 weeks and then they really hit it, okay? So, but you come in, you're gonna get a better deal, they're gonna be more apt to deal with you, all right? So, it's hard to know. Number 2, it's hard to know what a car really costs the dealer. Why is that? They show you the invoice.
They don't.
No, they do show you the invoice. Yes, they
It's
do.
not the real invoice.
No, it is the actual invoice. What the invoice does not necessarily, because legally they can't do that, it's fraud. Okay, the invoice that they get from where they buy their cars, that is the actual invoice. What you're not seeing is the 2 to 3% discount that they got before that invoice cut. Alright, so the invoice is legal.
But it's
The invoice they're showing you is the invoice that arrived with the car. The invoice does not reflect the 2 to 3% discount that they may have gotten, because it's not all the time.
If they pay for it ahead of time.
Exactly, and based on how many they buy,
buy.
you know, how much they have going on as well. But that's the point, alright? So you think you're getting this screaming deal, when really you're still 2 to 3% above whatever that car costs them.
They're still making money at invoice.
Oh, yes, absolutely, but,
The wording MSRP fits into this category along with other retails.
and what does that stand for, MSRP?
Manufacturer suggested retail price.
The key being
Suggested.
suggested.
It is an inflated retail price is what it is.
That's exactly right.
If the company says we'll give you 20% off, you're actually getting about 10.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Or
Exactly.
5, if you're buying a 4-wheel drive in the winter.
Yeah, yeah.
Montana.
Okay, so number 3, don't let emotions take over. Why? Why would I not want my emotions to take over in the purchase of a vehicle?
You make bad choices.
Why would you make bad choices?
You might buy something that you might not otherwise afford.
But why would you do that? Cars all have 4 wheels and 2 or 4 doors, right?
Color I want, and
Oh.
options I want.
Yeah, I've been looking for this car.
And it's the last one, and someone else is looking at this
Yeah.
car too, so
Yeah.
you better buy it now.
Yeah, we're coming to the bait and switch deal here. So, so the point being is, well, now, stop and think about it though. Can emotions be a good thing or a bad thing in a purchase?
Yes.
Answer is yes.
Yeah.
Okay, you can have emotions that take you the other direction. That are like, no.
Why all salesmen hate
Okay,
me.
That's
well.
how I am too.
One of the funniest things that my wife and I have ever done in front of other people is, I was a gamer for a long time. I'm not so much now, but I was a gamer for a long time. But I'm still rather cheap. I don't buy anything for myself because my family is more important to me. So we stood in GameStop to purchase an Xbox and a couple of games. She finally conned me into doing it, right? She asked me to go. So we're standing in GameStop, there's nobody else in there, and we're arguing about buying an Xbox and 2 games. But it's not the traditional argument where the guy's like, I'm buying this, and she's like, we can't afford that. It's me saying, no, I'm not gonna get it. She's like, you're buying this and you're getting these 2 games. And the guy behind the counter staring at us, and I looked at him and I said, you don't hear this conversation like this all the time, do you? He says, no, I hear this conversation all the time, just never that direction. So emotions can be a good thing, Alright, yes.
If the salesman see your elated emotions, he's got you,
Oh, he does have
you
it.
know,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you can't negotiate that.
Yeah. It's like when you're in an accident, okay? What does the insurance company tell you?
What it's worth to them.
They tell you do not say whose fault it was until it's been investigated. Why? Because the second somebody gets out and says, I'm so sorry, well, it's your fault. Your fault. See? Emotions are running high at that point too, are they? People are scared, people are irritated, people are frustrated, people are now like, oh great, what did I do? Okay, number 4, learn the negotiating game, i.e. bartering. Also known as selling. There's no two ways about it. Bartering is nothing but the ability to sell, okay? And we talked about selling last week. So, where else can a skill such as bartering be useful?
And if all.
In Nepal, yeah. Foreign countries. Foreign countries have
You
bartering.
don't. They get angry.
Foreign countries have bartering down. We have gotten away from bartering, but I'm telling you right now that you will need it one day. But were you gonna say something about bartering?
I just said Mexico when she said
Mexico.
Nepal.
Okay, yeah. So foreign countries. Where else can bartering be good, be useful?
At any retail store. If you find a defect in a product, you can,
Yep. Can you negotiate a price at Walmart?
yeah.
You can.
And if,
People don't realize
if
that.
it's the last 4 model and it's the
Yeah.
spray, you can get that dirt cheap
Oh yeah.
on the spray units that they want.
They say 10%, you say 20, and you walk out with it for 15.
If you notice little scratches or little defects,
Yeah.
the manager will probably discount it.
Do you guys remember my hot dog story from last week?
I wasn't here. Please
You weren't here?
refresh my
Do
memory.
you want me to refresh your memory? I taught my son here, actually I think it was primarily Cody. I taught Cody how to get free hot dogs at the town pumps. And what I would do is I would go in and simply say, how long have those, it has to be later in the evening. I'd say, hey, how long have those hot dogs been on there? I'd say, oh man, they've been on there since I started shift. And I'd be like, oh, I was gonna get one, but never mind. And they're like, dude, I'm just gonna throw them out, go ahead and take them.
Honestly,
I'll
we're
take them all.
like 95% of the time.
95% of the time, free hot dogs. What you
Of
do,
course,
what
we were going in like 2, 1.
I told you late.
Yeah.
It's gotta be late.
The hood clean business.
But, you know, so, so it was a bartering technique, quite honestly. You know? That never happened, I can hear you back there.
Nope.
You got
Okay.
50 times, you forget.
Okay, number 5, beware the add-on. What's an add-on?
Emotion.
Well, add-on's gonna be emotionally driven, yes.
Extended warranties.
How about
Yes.
bumpers? I've seen trucks sold without bumpers. Okay, because bumpers have become an add-on. How about radios? Add-on? Because it comes with a radio, doesn't it? But it doesn't come with the cool radio, unless you're buying used, and then you find one that happens to already have it in, okay? How about tires? Can they upgrade the tires, the rims? Yeah.
Basically highway tires and not all-season tires.
Yeah, so you could, in essence, double the price of the vehicle just in add-ons.
Or when they sell trucks that need tires as soon as you buy them.
Well, that's used,
It's
though.
crazy. I know, but it's stupid. Even the new vehicles, they have the terrible tires on them. You gotta
Yeah.
And
change
those
them.
one thing in buying used vehicle off of a dealer's lot is the salesman will give you a price, you go in and talk to the sales manager, and all of a sudden it costs you $200 to negotiate the registration and license.
Yeah,
Where'd that come from?
yeah, their fee. Yep. Number 6, learn how trade-ins work. Who knows what the NADA is? You know what NADA is? What is it?
National Auto Shop Dealer Association.
But what's it for?
I don't know, but I know what it's doing.
Wow, that's impressive. Who knows what the NADA is for?
Blue Book?
Well, that's Kelly Blue Book.
Yes.
There are 2. There's Kelly Blue Book, there's NADA, and there's one other now. What is it?
Black book.
Black Book.
Black book, yeah.
Okay, why did the Black Book start?
Because you can get a hold of the other two.
Because there was too many customers that were able to get into the NADA. Originally, car prices were primarily priced on NADA, and still, you can still get a pretty good idea of what cars are worth on NADA. I don't particularly care for Kelly Blue Book myself because I think the differences are too big. I see more prices tracking NADA than I've ever seen tracking Kelly Blue Book. That's why I say that.
Specifically
Black-
here in the north or in the
Yeah.
states.
But Black Book, you will not get access to at all. It is a dealership-only pricing tool. Okay. So know what the NADA is, not so that you can say, look, it's worth $6,454 and not a penny more. No, it's a general price, come on, okay, everyone's gonna be different.
Most times they're better off to not do a trade-in. They would knock the other vehicle down more and you can sell yours for more.
For more than you can get it on trade.
Right.
However, why do most people trade in though?
Simple and they still owe money on it.
Simple and convenient. Yeah, and they still owe money on it,
And
exactly.
they can do it all in one fell swoop.
Exactly.
But most of the time the dealerships don't want the used cars,
No,
so they.
but not that they're not gonna make money on them.
Yeah, but they'll knock the newer car down more and
They much prefer a money down financed plan than doing a trade. Okay, next slide, number 7. Bait and switch is not a forgotten art. What is bait and switch?
Not bad job.
Kinda, yeah. Hey, I know you really like this one, but did you see this one? Or you really wrap them up in this one car and you say, but you know what? This other one has this, this, and this, which I know you said you wanted. So they've walked you over to this car so that they can sell you this car. And it is a tactic. And it actually is not ethical. Not ethical, but it's still very much in use. Yeah, so don't think for 2 seconds that you're not trying to be hooked. You have to be very stern, you have to know exactly what you want when you walk into these dealerships.
This
Or even
doesn't
when you
just
deal
happen
one,
with
or even when you
vehicles.
deal person to person.
This happens in insurance, it happens in
Oh yeah,
everything.
yeah, absolutely. Number 8, like I said, book value is a guideline, not a rule, okay? Number 9, dealers don't arrange loans just to be nice, okay? Have no doubt they are making money. And they're not making a little money off you, they're making a lot of money off you, okay? So know that if you plan on financing it, what you need to do, because they don't care what you need to do. They care that you drive off and that you finance through them, okay? Number 10, the no dicker sticker. Who knows what that is? It's a take it or leave it. How many dealerships are moving towards that? More and more. Quite a few. All right, it eliminates bartering, doesn't it? Some dealerships, you still get the old school dudes that'll still deal with you if you get the right dealer, or if you get the right salesman, I should say. But the no dicker sticker is the take it or leave it sticker. All right, the don't even ask. This is what's on it. Walk away from those dealerships, whether they have the vehicle you're looking for or not. Okay. So, number 11, research the dealership. Are they reputable around town? Not just on Google. Those can be manipulated. I get on Google often to check reviews, all right? And I've gotten pretty good at being able to recognize what review was manufactured and what review was sincere, because they're worded differently, okay? Now, until you're good at that, then beware. Why? Because they can pay people to put reviews in there, and they will actually have employees go in and build reviews in there too. So now you're looking at 9 5-star reviews, you buy a vehicle, have a completely terrible experience in your car buy, and you're like, but they had 5-star reviews. Yeah, well, all those 5-star reviews are sitting at desks selling cars in that dealership. Okay? Because it doesn't tell you what they do in the reviews, it just says, Sue from Bozeman, Montana, or, see what I mean? Okay, so beware. All right, so next slide. Buying concerns, 3 things: leasing, loans, and cash. Now, before we touch those, what does paying yourself mean?
Making a payment to yourself.
Make a payment to yourself, yeah.
Setting it aside every month.
Right, which means that if you plan on making a payment, if you know a car's coming and you need to set money aside for it, figure what payment you can afford and start paying yourself that payment. Put it in a completely separate bank account. I would even suggest a completely separate bank. Start accruing that money, because that way, what are you going to have when it comes time to replace a car?
at least a big down payment.
At least a big down payment, if not cash, right? So leasing is a bad idea. Never lease a car. You can write that down if you want. Never lease a car. You're tapped on miles. What they get you on is, well, we're going to do all the services. We're going to fix all this. Yeah, and you can drive it 10,000 miles a year.
Yeah.
Anything over that's going to cost you X amount.
Might work in a city, but in Montana,
Yeah.
not so good.
Leasing is a bad deal here, okay? Loans, it depends. You can't make a loan work for you. All right, just remember that the loan is not designed with you in mind. It's designed to extract money from you, not help you with your budget, okay? So it can go either way with the loans. Your best flexibility is gonna be cash. Obviously, you walk in, Okay, it's $1,000, I'll give you 500. Well, I can't take 500, and so the bartering begins, right? But you walk out paying way less. Now, does that only apply for cars? No. Medical bills, all kinds of things. You can negotiate almost anything in cash for a considerable discount. You got money in hand and people are ready to close that thing. We'll close that bill right now. Okay? So keep that in mind.
Especially when you
Yeah, when you spread it out on the desk, they tend to really perk up. So why don't more people use cash?
I don't have it.
Did you see that sentence right underneath there? Remember, most people can't write a check for $500 in an emergency. 75% of people cannot write a $500 check for an emergency. Right? And that's why more people don't use cash. Okay, so I got a couple of fun facts for you there. You guys all looking at the millennial slide? Okay, so millennials have a lower rate of car ownership than previous generations at their age. Okay, why? Why is that? Anybody want to take a stab at it?
well, we're debt driven.
Nope. Although that's what most people would think offhand.
My guess is anti-commitment, long-term commitment.
You're close.
kind of a thing.
Well, I would think that the availability of like all of these services now, like Uber and Lyft and
You hit the nail.
taxis and,
That's the nail on the head. There are so many services available to millennials now that it's easier for them to grab an Uber because it's so much cheaper than a taxi than it is to make a car payment and maintain a car.
I would say it's more because of the push on the, how cars are so bad for our
Well,
carbon footprint.
There is that too, but the primary driver on it is financial. And it is the Ubers, and it is the ride shares, the Lyfts, the Ubers, there's more and more of that stuff happening, and that is why. Because if you go to the next one, millennials buy cars more pragmatically. They're forever going to be more on the pragmatic car as a commodity, car as an appliance part of the equation. All right, do I need it? Okay, not, it used to be, I want a car, it's freedom. Now it's, I don't need the car to have freedom. Okay, and then, and I've got here. And so what a lot of people don't realize is right now the auto industry is taking a huge hit. This isn't a small number. You'll see a number of articles, of course I've got the references down there. You'll see a number of articles that'll say, oh, the millennials are finally starting to buy, but you'll find more that say the auto industry is taking a hit. They didn't anticipate millennials. Millennials outnumber the, what's the other generation, the other big generation, the baby boomers. For the first time ever, the millennials outnumber the baby boomers, and they're not buying near like the baby boomers did. Which is what the auto industry was based on.
Well, a lot of industries, I mean, JCPenney's is closing its doors.
Malls are closing.
Another thing, I guess millennials are not purchasing homes. They would
Yes.
rather rent.
They would rather
Because they
rent.
don't wanna have that long-term commitment. Oh, I might.
And that's where we get into commitments, you're right.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so we're gonna blow through insurance. Now, is insurance fun and exciting? No. I used to sell insurance, it's not fun and exciting, okay? But let's touch on, do we need insurance and is it scriptural?
Need insurance.
what type of insurance?
Huh? What?
What type of insurance?
Insurance at all? Anybody want, some people are afraid to say so. I will say it straight up, that insurance is part of your responsibility. If you're the head of the family, it's part of your responsibility, it's part of planning, okay? Some people have a problem with insurance because they say it's a lack of faith, okay? Where in scripture does the Lord ever condemn making plans? When you make them outside of Him. Commit your plans to the Lord, right? Isn't that what He says? But He didn't say, don't have a plan. People go back to, let each day take care of itself for enough, for each day has enough trouble of its own. Okay, can you do that and still plan? Yeah. It means set your plan, trust your plan, and then worry about today. Because you've already got a plan for tomorrow. So I will be the first to tell you insurance is a responsibility, yes. Okay?
And it's not the church's job to fund everybody like a GoFundMe account.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous how many people, and we were in that, when Cody broke his neck and back, we didn't have health insurance
Nope.
because it was fed to us that that the church would take care of us, and the church did nothing. Less than nothing. And we were in financial distress like nobody's business.
That was about 50 grand in medical bills. But the Lord opened a door that we had not anticipated. We were able to pay that all off. I went to work in full-time. I took my responsibilities very seriously, and I went back to plumbing full-time for a short time. And I was running my business full-time at night, and I was plumbing full-time during the day. And somebody had mercy on us, Lord primarily, and opened up a door so we could move past that. But that is not the model that I promote. Okay? So, because I understand the argument, do I feed my family or do I pay for the insurance? I get it. All right? And that's ultimately between you and God. And I'm not going to condemn anybody who does one way or the other. All right? So, trusting in God, just another note on that. Trusting in God does not exempt us from hardship, struggle, and sickness. So what I want you to do is I want you to write down Proverbs 6, 6 through 8 right next to that.
Like 66?
No,
right?
Proverbs 6, verses 6 through 8.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to read them. Hang on.
That's what I heard. I think I did too.
Turn up your hearing aid back there. All right, it says, "Go to the ant, O sluggard, observe her ways and be wise, which have no chief officer or ruler, prepares your food in the summer and gathers her provision in the harvest." Have a plan. She has a plan. Okay. All right. So auto insurance. Who understands the difference between comprehensive and liability? A lot of people don't. A lot of people have the minimum insurance, $25.50. $25,000 per incident, $50,000 cap. All right, which means that if you kill somebody in an accident, in an auto accident, that will only cover $50,000 tops for the entire incident. And anything that the court comes at, or anything that is incurred after that, is your liability for you to pay. So although $25.50 is cheap and covers the minimum, I would highly suggest that you guys all take a second look at your auto insurance and consider carrying a higher, and even consider an umbrella. Why would I say that? Because I think we have a $2 million umbrella. And what the umbrella does is, if I have 500, I believe, where it's 500,000 per incident, 500,000, 500,000 cap. Anyway, the $2 million umbrella covers any court costs over and above that. If I kill somebody and it's an accident and I tap out that 500, that $2 million will kick in to help cover any costs. Why? Because I have a responsibility to feed my family. That's why. Yeah. Yes.
Can you get umbrellas just on your auto policy, or is that's through your homeowners?
The umbrellas are actually.
We have one through our homeowners.
Yes, you can't. Typically, the umbrella is called the umbrella because it will cover your homeowners and your auto.
Okay.
It'll cover all those. That's why it's the umbrella. I'm not aware that you can do it on strictly an auto, because they do umbrellas. Yeah, they do umbrellas because they want to. And the reason umbrellas are relatively inexpensive.
Yeah.
But they want you, so you need all of your auto insurance in the same company to typically get an umbrella.
It's basically called an umbrella.
It's called an umbrella policy,
Yeah.
yes. And it is specifically there to cover your other policies. And I would highly suggest that you check into them, okay? They're just smart. So comprehensive liability. Liability is if you hurt somebody. Comprehensive is if something happens to your stuff. Like if your car's parked beside the garage and a tree falls on it, that's comprehensive. Okay? It's parked in the garage for the winter and the garage burns up or falls down, comprehensive. Liability, I just hit a guy on a bike. Liability, I just hit a guy on a motorcycle, or I hit a guy in a, Ford Festiva. Liability, okay? All right, life insurance. Whole or term, who knows the difference? Except you.
Term insurance.
I know you could answer all the time, go ahead.
Term insurance, you buy insurance only to cover your death. Whole life, you buy life insurance and build up a cash savings or a cash value on that. And so you can withdraw that money at a certain period of time. Term life is nothing, you just pay for insurance, the cheapest.
Yeah, you're right, but both are intended for death.
Yes.
They're both life insurance policies. Whole life, you're correct, does hold cash value. It builds cash value, but it's considerably more expensive. Mm-hmm. Some people will use it as an investment strategy sometimes. Yes?
On term though, does it just last a certain amount of years and then you have to
Yeah, sometimes it's 10, sometimes it's 20, dependent on age. So what'll happen is you'll have a fixed rate and then you'll hit that renewal, and odds are in term that your rate will go up. As you get older, your rate goes up. That's just the way it is. Because they know the statistics, the actuary tables is what they're called. They've got all these huge actuary tables that say most people die at this age, and so they base your rate off of that. Okay, so as you get closer to that death date, the rate will go up. But yeah, term has no cash value whatsoever, but it is considerably less expensive. And so I would suggest that if you're going to carry life insurance, because remember that when you die, you are leaving somebody straddled with that bill. Somebody's got to pay that bill. Somebody.
I have both.
Your mother's pointing at you. What's that? You have both?
I got both.
Yeah, and it's totally
old, but more expensive.
right.
And so term was a cheap way to get enough money to
Yeah.
take care of everything.
See now, for instance, I have to reevaluate my life insurance. I have 2 life insurance policies right now. One is SGLI, one is VGLI, and they're military. Okay, SGLI is my military one. VGLI is a supplement to that. So when I retire next year, I will lose my SGLI. I will keep the VGLI, but it'll go up, and I need to actually start shopping to find. But things that affect me, for instance, my dad had a heart attack before 50 and died. That is the one thing that holds me from a decent rate. I have one relative that died before 50 of a heart attack.
So can I buy I can buy a life insurance policy on her, can't I?
So long as she doesn't die tomorrow, yeah.
Sure.
That looks a little suspicious.
Well, absolutely. But I don't have to
Yes.
have her permission.
No, well, no, you do.
Okay.
Actually, no, you do. She has to be aware that you're buying a life insurance policy, and there's, for obvious reasons.
Sure.
Yeah.
Health evaluation too, blood draws
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah. But there's, get online and Google it, I wanna say AIG is a pretty decent place to look through, so, but moving on, since I'm getting behind here. All right, health insurance, policy or envelope? What am I saying?
Don't know envelope.
Huh?
I don't know what you mean by envelope.
Okay.
Putting money in the envelope.
That's right, the envelope system. Some people will, okay, so everybody has their own version of health, all right? Brenda and I take a very holistic approach, okay? So much so that I haven't been to the doctor in I can't remember how many years. We looked it up. I have put thousands of dollars into my health insurance and not used it one time in at least 5 years. Does that make me angry? Yeah, it makes me angry. That's X amount of dollars a month I could be putting towards something useful.
We could arrange for something to happen to you if you.
That's the life insurance. You missed that.
You don't have to die.
Okay, so for me, I'm actually looking at, I wonder if there's a policy or something out there that I can take out that will cover major issues and not general practitioner issues. Because I don't need general practitioner issues. I need broken bone surgery issues. Some people will actually keep it in an envelope. Have I considered that? I'm not gonna lie, yeah, I considered it.
It's called self-insurance.
It's called self-insuring, yeah. Does it meet the Obama regulations? No, it doesn't. But you know what? I'm gonna stand right here, I'm gonna tell you, I don't care about the Obama regulations. Do what is best for your family, but do something, don't do nothing. All right. Home insurance. Home insurance important? You think that, how many of you have reviewed your home insurance policies in a while?
I did.
Well, you have, yeah. In the middle, yeah, exactly. Okay, why is it important to go through?
So you make sure you're covered if somebody hurts themselves on your property.
Well, there's that, yeah, because if somebody hurts themselves on your property, they'll sue you. That's the new thing. Well, it's not a new thing, it's been going around for a while, but I think it's ridiculous. But grandma's heirloom pearls, your house burns down, they were more than likely not covered because you never got a writer for them. You gotta be specific. I now we've had to downsize yet again because we moved out to Harrison, and now I need to go through and video everything that we've got, because she's got some heirloom stuff, okay? So
let me ask this,
Yes.
so let's say I bought my house 20 years ago and it was worth $200,000, and I get my policy for $200,000. Now my house is worth $400,000.
does it automatically cover that way? No.
So you need to go in each
Every year.
5 years or a year?
No, every year, go to your insurance agent and do a complete audit and review of your stuff. It sucks,
And then
it
check the
takes
rates.
time, yeah, and then double check your rates across the board, but it's necessary. I know what ours is, we just changed all of our insurance to a different company. So, once a year, alright? So renter's insurance, because not everybody owns a house, right? Is it important? Let me explain renter's insurance to you as compared to the insurance that the owner of the house has. The owner of the house has studs out insurance. You ever heard that term? Not everybody has. Studs out means that everything from the studs out are covered if the house burns to the ground or whatever it is. Everything in it, studs in, it's all you, if you're the renter, okay? Which means that all renter's stuff is not covered. Rental insurance covers their stuff, their belongings, not the home per se, but their stuff, okay? And you always want to shop it and put in the research so you understand the purchase. Don't just get insurance. Like the 2550, I guarantee you most people that have 2550 got the insurance because it's a law. Gotta have it. If they ever get in an accident, they're gonna understand real quick why that was a bad plan. Okay?
Well, and just because you own your car doesn't mean that you should drop down to liability.
Liability only?
Yeah.
Okay, now let me say something about that. I'm glad you said something. The convertible that she has is only worth approximately $1,800, okay? So I told him no comprehensive. Why would I tell him that?
It's worth less money than the insurance costs to put into it.
Replacing the car I can do. So I don't need that portion. Yes?
I got a different school of thought.
What's that?
If you cannot afford to replace the car, even on a $500 car, you should have comprehension on it. Because it is cheaper with the insurance company,
Yeah.
ain't gonna be out much money, but at least you'll have $400
Right,
of
it's
insurance to go
yeah.
and buy another car
Yeah,
instead
see.
of having nothing.
See, and that's what works for Mark. That makes more sense for him.
Now, I don't have it, but that is
Yeah.
another.
That's another way to look
thought.
at it, yeah.
If I can't afford $500 to go buy another junker,
Right.
I better off to pay,
Pay for the
company-
comprehensive, yeah.
Yeah, they'll give me $400, big deal, but at least I can buy something.
Yeah.
Instead of nothing.
No, you're absolutely right.
Oh, I thought there would be more room in here.
Oh,
I'm gonna come
you
sit
can
by
come
phone.
Oh, you can move on.
Sorry.
There you go. Sneaking in.
Yeah.
Well, we're almost done. All right, so, any questions on buying cars and insurance? We just kind of touched it all. There's a tremendous amount more to go over. No questions, no comments? All right, so here's what I want you to start thinking about. I want you to start on your last slide there, Genesis 11:6. The Lord said, "Behold, they are one people, and they all have the same language, and this is what they began to do. And now nothing which they purpose to do will be impossible for them." So our hopes and our dreams, why aren't they on our budget? Our very last class is going to be strictly how to build your dreams and your goals into your budget. The last class. But you know what we got to have before we do that class? Goals and dreams. Okay? It's kind of a pointless class without goals and dreams.
Being rich.
Put that on your goals and dreams. So, the point being is I want you to start defining your goals and dreams now, so that when we get to that class, we're not playing catch up. You have like 2 weeks, okay? And there's absolutely no, if I can sit down with the limited amount of time I have in a day and do it, you can too. All right? Everybody's very quiet.
You want specifics, so be rich. Define
Be
what
rich is not specific. It's,
Define what rich is.
what is rich?
Having a house on the beach.
Having a house on the beach? You don't have to be rich to have a house on the beach. We're gonna define that too. We're gonna define what rich is, because I know that was gonna come up. Rich is not, some people think they need $1 million to have this, and in truth, they only need 200,000.
I want a timeshare and a jet so I can go anywhere I want,
Ooh, a jet would be
anytime.
nice.
Yeah!
I'll timeshare with you on that.
See, look at that, that's how it works.
We can.
Okay, so, one more quick thing. Can I advertise what you do?
I don't care.
Why don't you say what you do, so everybody knows
Well,
for sure?
so I actually have a full-time job, so I just
Right.
do this for friends that I know. But I'm a financial coach, so I help people get all of their finances in order and then help them implement their goals and dreams.
So is that something that any one of these guys could come to you for, or are you
Yeah.
booked right now?
Yeah.
If you're booked, say so.
It's
I'm
in my
not.
spare time.
It's in your spare time. So
yeah.
it's at her leisure,
It's at my leisure.
but she is available.
She's a fiscal fairy godmother.
The fiscal fairy god. We'll get you a little badge. The fiscal
I need
fairy
to get a
god.
business partner.
Exactly. All right, cool. Well, we are there. Let's go ahead and pray. Great and glorious God and Father, Lord, we thank you and praise you for this opportunity to come together, to go over your word, to go over budget and finance, and understand, Lord, that as much as we may struggle with money, it's important for us to nail it down, to make it our slave, to make it work for us. But we know, Lord, that wisdom comes from you. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the wisdom. And it's in your Son's beloved holy name we pray. Amen.